Hey, this is Phoenix. A year and a half ago, I met up with Elle on Wheels, and her plan to take her motorcycle to go to South America for a year and a half. So she quit her job, she sold everything, and off she went. How do I know she's back? Well, she sent me this video.
Hey Phoenix, how's it going? Check this out. 5 degrees, 15 degrees, and it's November 1st. So I'm out on my bike and the mountains are beautiful. I am officially back in Canada. I have my bike with me and I'm getting settled. The only thing left is to unpack and I don't really want to do that. So let's meet instead. Let me know if you're up for it.
This is where freedom and cool hit the road. My name is Phoenix, and this is License to Ride.
I left Canada in August of 2019. I ran away on my motorcycle. I went all the way down to Ushuaia, Argentina. I made it halfway and I wanted to come back, but that part was not successful. I got stuck in Uruguay when the borders closed from the pandemic. How many words was that?
That's more than 25 words, but I'll let you go on that one. My gosh. I remember, let's go back a year and a half, you and I met in a small little, it was near Black Diamond.
In Okotoks, yeah.
In Okotoks. And you and I had a conversation about a year and a half. And I remember one of the things that you said to me, you said, the one thing that I'm most stressed about, it's not the trip itself. It's about the planning. It's about all of the, what do I bring? What don't I bring? That was what you were stressed out about. Let's fast forward a year and a half. Did you want to revise your statement?
Not really. I think I have experience traveling, and I know that once you get going, once you're on the road, once you're flying down the highway and you've crossed your first border or entered your first foreign country, you get into a rhythm. And I knew that would happen with me again, and it did. I think the hardest part about going on a trip that is so long like this is the going, the making the decision to leave and the making all the plans, quitting your job, selling your house, or giving up your rental place or whatever it might be, and actually committing to getting on the road. And that's when all the what ifs come in. What if I didn't pack the right stuff? What if I packed too much stuff? What if I have problems? What if I need something and I wish I had it and I didn't bring it? Most of those concerns really aren't that big of a deal. Most places where you travel, you can buy anything you need. People are there to help most often, but it's still a hard process to work through at the beginning of a trip of that length.
And then add to that a pandemic, a world pandemic.
Right.
So, I mean, if anyone's going to be stressed about anything, it's the uncertainty. Like, who would have ever imagined this? You know, if I said to you a year and a half, hey, get ready, Elle, because something really big is going to happen in the world, and you went, Phoenix, you make me laugh.
Exactly. Even when people were saying that, I didn't believe him.
There was you and your partner, Jeremy Croker, you went on this trip together. There's a quote that he has in one of his videos, and I'm going to read it to you because to me it was very poignant. He says, without sadness, joy would feel hollow.
Yeah.
There was sadness, but there was joy. So wrap your head around that statement.
I tend to argue with that one sometimes. There's a lot of people in this world who believe that without one, we wouldn't enjoy the other so much, without whatever contrasting element it might be. So let's say sadness to happiness. I think it's probably true that I appreciate my happiness more when I've had the down moments to contrast them against, but I'm not sure that's entirely necessary. I would prefer to live without the sadness if I could, and I still think I would enjoy the happiness. I do think it adds a little bit more depth to those happy moments, those moments of appreciation. Once I've been stuck in a job that I wasn't really happy with, let's say working in a cubicle 5 days a week, driving in rush hour traffic every day, being stuck in the snow, scraping your windshield in the middle of a Canadian winter, freezing your fingers off. Yeah, when I think about those moments and then I'm in the middle of Peru and the sun is shining and there's llamas walking around me and I'm free as a bird riding my motorcycle anywhere I want as long as I want, I do think those moments feel even more than good, like just so much more appreciable because I've had those other experiences to compare them to. And also a little sadness because I know I don't have the funds to go forever. I'm going to come back to a Canadian winter and I'm going to be scraping my windshield again one day.
But you never know. The one thing you mentioned, Peru. In Peru,
Yes.
if I'm not mistaken, I think somebody got a little too close to your bike.
Oh
I've
my
seen
goodness.
some of the riders or the other motorcyclists, if you will, in areas. The roads are to be.
Mm.
Boy, if you don't appreciate Canadian roads, I'm certain you sure do after that trip.
Yes. Yeah, the drivers, and I knew that there was going to be different rules of the road. I'd ridden through Mexico before. There's quite a bit different style on the road as there is here in Canada and the USA. But I didn't realize how crowded, how jam-packed everyone would be in Peru. The drivers in Lima literally try to kill you. And there's no respect for motorcycles. You don't get a
Man,
lane, you don't get space on the road. You're a motorcycle. You're expected to move over for trucks. There could easily be two semis passing each other coming at you. And it doesn't matter that you're on a road because you're a motorcycle. You should drive in the ditch or on the shoulder around to give them way. And I learned that once I got there, but it was
I
surprising the
bet.
first couple times.
I would suggest that anybody who's wanting to embark on an adventure like this too should have the mentality, correct me if I'm wrong, of expect the unexpected, because that's exactly what's going to happen. And if you let your emotions get too much the better of you, then
Mm-hmm.
you really don't appreciate the experience that you're in. Fair?
I agree. Yep. If you're likely to get upset, pissed off, unhappy, disappointed because things are so different than the way they are where you're used to it, you're not going to enjoy the trip very much. I've met a couple people who said, why would you do that again? Like you've already traveled down to
Mm,
Panama. Why would you keep going further? The border crossings are such a pain. All the paperwork, all the police trying to get bribes from you, and the people driving horribly. Like I tried it once and I hated it. I'll never do it again. And I thought the only difference between me and that guy is our attitudes. I chose, well, yeah, these border
yeah.
crossings are a pain. Nicaragua takes about 4 hours to just go through lineups that are completely arbitrary sometimes, but that's part of the experience. That's
You
what I
just take it
went
all
to
in
go
stride.
feel and do and experience. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and that's part of the experience is that if everything was like it was in North America, then really where's the experience? Where are the
exactly.
stories? Where's the
Yeah,
adventure? Where's the journey out of all of this? Where's the learning experience, right? Because if it's
yes.
all the same, if it's all
Hmm.
vanilla,
Hmm.
then
Then why
how
go?
then exactly. I love it.
Hmm.
The people are incredible. I mean,
Hmm.
we're still we're still in this little bubble here in North America that we think, well, everybody is like us. But the reality is, once you do some traveling, especially the journey that you and Jeremy took, you discover a lot more about the culture, different cultures, the different
Hmm.
people, the way of doing things.
Hmm.
Again, I'm getting the attitude you just embraced it.
And I think having seen the way other people live and the way the conditions are in some countries helps me bring more appreciation to myself now. I don't really want to be in Canada for another winter. When the snow flies and I can't ride my bike anymore, I'm going to have some disappointment and some grief at the end of this trip. But then
Yeah.
I think about people in Peru. In the middle of a lockdown, they can't open a restaurant, they can't open a grocery store. They have new conditions put on them for safety and health reasons, but that's literally their livelihood. They may not be able to feed their family if they can't run their business. Like they are in desperate times during this pandemic. And me, I come back to a country where what? Where there are government programs to help me if I need, where there's lots of different jobs, and it might take me a while to find one or get one that I really want or enjoy or feel fulfilled at, but
Yeah.
there's still plenty of opportunities. I could shovel snow if I need to.
And the grocery shelves are full.
Yes. Mhm.
Again, and that's what I think we vicariously enjoy when we see videos and pictures that you've sent over the last year and a half. Is that comparison in a way? I mean,
Mhm.
we are comparing in a sense, but that's just human nature. I'm sure a lot of folks who've seen you over the last, I guess, 6 months that you've been back, give or take, um, they've asked you about probably what's the one thing, right? What's the one thing you enjoyed the most? What's the one thing you didn't enjoy the most?
Mhm.
And what's the one thing you really appreciate now that you're home? Let's start with that.
It's so hard to answer those one thing questions. There can't be just one thing. There are so many things. I could say there's a couple things that aren't maybe the top, but I could use as a quick reference. And one country being one of the most stunning and also one of the most challenging would be Peru. I started after crossing the Darien Gap into Colombia, going through Colombia and Ecuador, which are lush and green and vibrant with so much jungle. And then crossing almost immediately from the Ecuador to Peru border, it's dry. There's desert, there's sand blowing across the road, there's bits of garbage going across the road with the sand. And I thought, this is not as pretty as Ecuador. But then I left the Pan American Highway and went into the Cordillera Blanca, into the mountains. I didn't know that there were glaciers in Peru. I had no idea. I never would have believed someone if they had told me that if I hadn't seen them for myself. And because I didn't know that and I wasn't expecting them, when I got there and saw them, it was amazing. It was astounding. And to stand on the top of the mountains among Punta Olympica and the glaciers on one side and green valleys down below and llamas crossing the road, it was awesome. So Peru does stand out as one of the worst and one of the best countries for me.
And the one thing about being back home that you are embracing today, Starbucks coffee, what?
No, I know. Starbucks coffee is expensive. I need to save. So there will be more trips someday, I'm sure, somehow. I think just having a place to be that's the same every night, having food in my cupboard, being able to go to the grocery store and bring a lot of supplies instead of just, will this fit on my motorcycle? I don't have a fridge to keep it cold with, buying food one day at a time, putting up a tent and taking it down, breaking camp every day, packing everything, and only being able to carry what I can fit on a motorcycle. I wish I had been able to bring back more things, but I kept thinking, I'm still on my way south. I don't have room. I'll wait till I'm on my way north and then I can buy stuff. And that way north didn't happen. Now I've got space and a fridge and cupboards.
Exactly. The things that we never really appreciated until you actually leave and you visit somewhere else, another country. What is next, Elle? I mean, I'm certain you've had more than enough time sitting on your bike, just contemplating the moment. Once you did that return trip, well, it was a weird way to come back, but what's next?
There are definitely ideas brewing. I absolutely don't think I'm done traveling by motorcycle. I would go back and do South America again in a heartbeat. If somebody said, here's all the funds you need and all the time you need. I would like to go to other countries too. There's so much more of the world I haven't seen, and traveling by motorcycle is my favorite way to do that. So Europe, maybe even around the globe in the Northern Hemisphere, which would have to be a short trip. I would think 4 or 5 months to stay in the summer months. Africa is a whole continent waiting to be explored. So right now we can't travel, and right now I'm broke after having shipped back. But right now work is the plan. Find a job, make some money, start saving some money for the next trip, whichever it may be.
Well, I'm telling you, this adventure for you has been an adventure for us because so many things have been happening, and especially you've been so diligent, you and Jeremy, about sending back videos and pictures, and we've been watching your journey and fearing for you and excited for you, and then of course COVID hits, and then fearing for you again, and then frustrated for you. So all of those emotions have gone through us. If there's one piece of advice you would give to someone who is thinking about doing something similar, what one piece of advice would you give to that person?
I would say, as much as you can, get involved with the locals, however that might be. We have social media at our disposal, joining some groups, like for me, some Facebook groups around Pan American travelers and motorcycle groups, but also meeting the locals. That made a difference for me, especially when I was stuck in Uruguay and I stayed for months in one place. The people that I met and the connections that I made are what stay with me now. And also, they were a valuable source of information. Am I in trouble? Are people looking at foreigners with fear and suspicion because of the pandemic now? Am I safe? Am I okay? What information do I need? I can get all that from the locals there. And the motorcycle community is always happy to help out. There are fellow travelers in other countries who are so happy to welcome other motorcyclists from other countries to their home. So once I made those connections, things were a lot easier for me.
On Instagram, on Facebook, at Elle on Wheels, and let me tell you, devote at least a couple of hours to scroll through all the posts that you have been putting up there, because again, they are magnificent and a journey unparalleled. I've never seen anything like this, and the fact that you two did it with such grace, such humor, such reverence it was just so wonderful to be a fly on the wall as you two went through all of these, not just great moments. There were some moments of just like moments
There
too.
were some
But
tough moments too. Yeah.
Elle, thanks for sharing.
Thank you so much. Glad you were tuning in and glad that you enjoyed watching.